Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of GDDV 501, Lighting and Rendering. My name is Kasanas. Okay guys, we are moving into what would be week 5 if you were sitting in my classroom, so we're moving along pretty darn well. Up until recently, we've really been focusing on the single shot, the still frame. That's really what we've been focusing on. And in this particular episode, we're going to start taking a look at what happens when a camera starts to move, the rules we need to follow, and that kind of thing. This particular episode, actually, we're going to talk about the moving camera itself. All right, guys, so let's get started. Okay, so the camera in motion. So like I said, we've really talked about still frame up until now, and now we're going to start moving the cameras around. We're going to talk about several different types of cameras. Well, actually, just before I begin, I'm going to let you guys know there's a lot of construction going on right outside my window right now. So I'm afraid for the next several videos, we might have some noise in the background. I apologize for it, but it can't be helped. Anyway, we're going to talk about several different things. The locked-off camera, which I guess technically isn't really a moving camera. We're going to talk about the arc shot, the tracking shot, including the crane and the dolly. We'll talk about zoom, as well as the dolly zoom as an example. We'll talk about the pan, so the tilt and the whip pan. And we'll just really talk briefly about the whip pan, because really the whip pan is more of a transition created by moving the camera very quickly, but it's more of a transition. We're going to talk about the handheld or a shaky cam, and we'll compare that to the Steadicam. And lastly, we're going to talk about this sequence shot. Now, I think in the majority of these, I'm going to do my best to utilize gameplay video as opposed to film video. And the reason being that I've had several claims against my account because I've been putting in video. And, you know, the big blockbuster places they're really upset about me utilizing this for educational purposes, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of stupid, but that's where we're at. So I'm going to try and use as much gameplay as I can. Typically with gameplay, I don't have a problem as long as I don't have the sound. So we're going to have the sound turned off. You're going to hear my lovely voice throughout the entire thing. You know, I'm doing this because I don't want to have any strikes against my actual account and have them take my account down, because then I'll have no way of getting this stuff to you. Anyway, guys, so let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at these cameras individually. Let's start off with the idea of the locked-off camera or the fixed camera, and this is really the only one that's not moving. The camera is fixed in one position with the action moving in and out of the shot. So the camera does not move. It's placed in one position and then it does not move for the entirety of whatever entertainment you're actually creating. It doesn't move at all, and all the action kind of moves in towards it. A great example of a locked-off camera utilized in video games are a lot of times with our tower defenses. We have a locked-off camera where we've got ourselves a single screen. We're seeing all the action that happen within that screen, and nothing at all changes. No camera movement at all. Now that's not true of all. I'm just generalizing there. Obviously, that's not true of all tower defenses. And in many tower defense, there's many different styles of tower defense, but in the kind of more traditional styles, we see that locked off camera, and that's really where you see it. It's more difficult to see in games. I myself made a game a long time ago with a locked off camera where I showed the entirety of the maze in one screen. You know where else we see it actually is in arcades, now that I'm thinking about it. Arcade games like Pac-Man and that kind of thing. A lot of times we'll have a locked off camera. I made myself a game like that where we had a maze and we worked your way through the maze and you saw the entire maze as you lit it up. So I made a game like that a long time ago with a locked-off camera as well. The tracking shot. So anytime we've got a shot that's moving along with the action, it moves alongside of something, that's called a tracking shot. And there's a couple of different types of tracking shots. We have ourselves the crane shot, and that's when the camera's attached to a crane. Literally, this is how it used to work. A camera's attached to a train before we had, virtual cameras that we created CG with. It was attached to a crane, and then it was lifted up, and it tracked upwards, so it gave us upward movement. Then there's the dolly, and the dolly is when a camera is mounted on some type of track or, on some type of cart or something like that, and it's moved sideways, horizontally along with the action. And again, we see this in a lot of different 2D games, especially 2D side-scrollers. We see a tracking shot. So things like Mario, where Mario is moving along, or any 2D side-scroller that you can think of, really, for the most part, is a tracking shot, right? It's moving along in one plane. It is tracking both up vertically and horizontally with the character in most cases. Okay. The zoom shot is basically created when you place your camera in a position and then utilize a variable focal length lens to allow you to move closer to the subject or move farther away. It depends on which way you're zooming in or out. And we talked about the idea of a variable focal length lens previously, the zoom lens, and how it allows us to either move closer and then narrow our frame of view, or move farther away from the object and then widen our frame of view, our field of view. So that is a zoom shot. The dolly zoom is kind of a take on the zoom. With the zoom shot, the camera's put in place and it doesn't move. With the dolly zoom, we're going to utilize the variable focal length lens to allow us to get that same effect where we're changing our distance from the subject with the use of the lens itself, but at the same time we are moving the camera. And what this does, and we're gonna take a look at this. I know I told you we're only gonna look at gameplay videos, but we're gonna take a look at an example from Jaws in just a moment. In the example from Jaws, it's really used to demonstrate the character's disorientation, or the character's fear. And what basically happens is, as we move towards the character by dollying or tracking forward, whenever we track forward towards the character and we zoom out at the same time, what happens is the subject of our shot seems to stay in place, and the background seems to change dramatically, and that it really causes disorientation within the viewer, and it's supposed to give a feeling of discombobulation, or it's supposed to give a feeling of confusion in our subject as well, our fear in the particular case of Jaws. Let's take a look at that shot from Jaws. Okay, so in this particular shot, what we've got is the sheriff sitting on the beach here, and all these people come up and bothering him, and he's just kind of trying to sit and watch what's happening on the beach. He's worried about the shark already. Now, in just a moment here, I'm just letting you set this up so you can see. In a moment here, we're going to see what happens. Right now, he's just trying to relax. We get these kids who are playing. We're getting all these different shots of the beach. So we're building up suspense here. We got a lot of splashing in that. And he's kind of trying to watch all this kind of stuff. This guy lost his dog. Can't find his dog anywhere. There's this little kid on the beach. They're worried about this little kid too. Now, what's going to happen here is the shark is going to attack. Spoiler alert, the shark is going to attack. There, they got the dog already. The dog's eaten. That sucks. And now here comes the shark. Now watch what's going to happen here. We're going to see the dolly zoom, and it's going to go by really, really quickly. This is going to result in a claim against my account, but let's just do it anyway. All right, so the shark is coming in, about to take a bite. Going to grab one of the people and pull the people down. There we go. The shark just got the kid. People are like, oh, what's that over there? Now watch what's going to happen with the dolly zoom. The dolly zoom's coming right now. Right here. That's the dolly zoom, all right? We're gonna move this back a little tiny bit so you can see it again. The dolly zoom. Watch what happens here. See how the background is changing, but the character kind of stays in place? So that effect is created by tracking the camera forward at the same time as widening the shot. So they're opening the shot up, they're making the shot wider, the field of view is getting wider, and they're tracking the camera forward, and that's making the character look like he stays in place. All right, let's get back to the lecture. So both the dolly and the zoom are often used in the hero shot. Now the hero shot is a shot within your film or game in which you are really introducing the character for the first time. It gives us an opportunity to move in very, very close. This dramatic movement towards the character emphasizes the fact that this character has now either been introduced as the hero for the first time or is becoming the hero. They're really stepping forward, and this very dramatic moment. We see it all the time. Within films, we see it all the time, the hero shot. Let's talk about the pan. Now, a pan is a shot that's created when the camera is rotated about one of its axes. And there's either the horizontal pan, where we're tracking along, we're rotating our camera along the horizontal plane, or there is the tilt, in which the camera is rotated upwards or downwards. Now, obviously, we can have a combination where it's kind of a free movement of both a tilt and a horizontal pan shot. Now, in video games, we see this all the time, especially if we're talking about first-person or third-person cameras. Lots of times, if our camera is not stationary, it gets added on to a track shot. So we're tracking along with our character, and then we can utilize the pan to look around the scene. Let's take a look at an example from World of Warships. It's a game I'm playing fairly heavily right now. So let's take a look at an example from World of Warships. Okay guys, so here I am in game, and I'm just playing a game against bots right now. I'm playing in a co-op game against bots with a low tier ship. just because I'm trying to demonstrate stuff and I'm going to lose. I already tried recording this once with my regular ships, and I was trying to talk and demonstrate camera movement as opposed to playing, and I got blown up right away. So let's take a look. Right now, I've got myself a ship, and you can see that my camera is tracking along with my ship, right? I can see that my camera is moving along with the ship itself, like we'd expect in any kind of first-person game. I can also rotate my camera, and I can move my camera both horizontally and vertically, all right? And this is going to allow me to aim my guns. So this is really traditional movement as far as a first-person camera is concerned. And I'm not only recording this because I want to play games while I'm supposed to be working. That's not what I'm doing at all. All right, guys, so we're also going to take a look at the combination of the use of a zoom as well. So once I actually get into combat, there we go, I can see some ships coming in here. Once I get in, I can zoom in as well. So I can utilize the zoom as well as my pan now to aim my guns, all right? So typically with a lot of games, whenever you have the ability to use a scope or zoom in or that kind of thing, it utilizes the same idea as we talked about as far as the zoom is concerned. Watch the background. Watch how much of the information I lose when I zoom in. All right, so my field of view is definitely narrowed. I'm still gonna get killed here, even though I'm playing against bots. I'm still gonna lose here, which is kind of sad. All right, guys, so that's all I really wanted to show you. Get back to recording for pretend. Not finishing my game at all. Not finishing my game at all. A few hours later. Okay, so the next shot is the arc shot, and when the camera has an origin point, so it's point of origin, and it's circling around that point of origin, that is an arc shot. So it's also known as a circle shot. Some of the directors call it a circle shot, and basically all it is the camera circles around the subject, right? Around the subject of interest. This is used very heavily by, for example, Michael Bay. He uses it all the time in his films. We see this in video games when we're actually exploring something. So let's say that we are, we're interested in exploring our mech, or we want to see our character. We've gone through character creation. We have the ability to circle around our character. That is an arc shot. We're going to take a look at an example from the film Carrie. I've already got Jaws in here, so I'm already been reported anyway for utilizing a film. Let's go ahead and take a look at the film Carrie, because it's a great example of the arc shot. Okay, in this particular film, Carrie has been asked to the prom by the local jock hero, the football player, the captain of the football team, and she's really awkward about it. She really likes this guy, and this guy, what's going to happen now is Carrie is this is kind of towards the end of the movie. Carrie is going to dance for the first time. She's never been to a dance before, and right now we've got ourselves this kind of tracking camera. We're looking down on these characters, and it's supposed to make them feel like, it's supposed to give us a view of the entire thing and make her feel awkward. We can see her pull away here. Right now, she's going to kind of try and run off. He's like, listen, no one's looking at you. No one's looking, let's just dance. And then she's going to try and make a dash away. There she goes. And then we cut into this circle cam, and this is where the circle cam starts. And there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in this particular shot. We've got this up view of the character. We kind of feel like we're looking in on their private conversation. And here's when the camera starts to twirl around. And note that the camera is moving in the opposite direction that the stars above their head were. So we've kind of got this disorientation that's occurring within this shot. We're meant to feel a little bit disoriented, and that's supposed to mimic Carrie's feelings as well. Carrie is she's never danced before. She's never had a boyfriend before. She's really this kind of loner. She's really different. And what we're gonna watch happen here as they dance, the camera is going to start to spin faster and faster and faster, going in the same direction. And everything in the background, like the stars above, are kind of going in the opposite direction. The characters are dancing in the opposite direction now as well. And she's never been kissed before. This is the first time she's ever been kissed, and she can't believe it. And the camera's starting to go faster and faster and faster as we are watching these two. And it's supposed to mimic how Carrie feels inside. Her entire life is spinning. Her entire world is spinning around. That's what this particular shot's supposed to mean. And you can see how the camera's now getting faster and faster. That's what it's supposed to demonstrate to us, that Carrie's joy, Carrie's jubilation at the fact that she is finally being accepted by people, that she has finally had the opportunity to actually be with someone. The camera is getting faster here. The spin is getting faster and faster. Now, spoiler alert, at the end of this, Carrie kills everyone. including herself, inside of at the prom here. She kills everyone by burning the entire place down and crushing the entirety of the gymnasium on everyone. But at this point in time, look how fast that camera's moving. You know, Carrie is so excited to be here at the prom. She's just it's supposed to show her inner joy, all right? The fast spinning is just supposed to show how her life is now spinning out of control. Everything is changing so quickly, and she's so excited, all right? This is a great example of the arc or circle shot. So the handheld or shaky cam, and the handheld camera is great whenever we're trying to make that documentary style feel. Really, all this is that the camera operator is holding the camera and they are moving around. The camera is not in any way stabilized, so everything is kind of jittering as the camera is moved about. You know, if the person's running, the camera jiggles harder, and as they move around, the camera itself, it has this wiggling effect. Now, the entire point of a handheld or shaky cam is to give us that documentary feel. It's supposed to make us feel like we are actually there. Lots of times we utilize a handheld camera for in video games to make things feel like they're moving faster. A great example is, and we talked about this a little bit previously, a great example is in Gears of War with the roadie run. Whenever we have a regular camera, our regular gameplay camera, it is a Steadicam, which we'll talk about in 1 second. The Steadicam is just a camera that allows that everything feels steady, everything is stabilized. So in our regular gameplay, everything is stabilized and the camera is nice and smooth. However, when we move into the roadie run, whenever our character dashes forward, the camera zooms in and the whole camera shakes as the character runs. And it's supposed to give us this impression of speed. That's what it's supposed to do. Like it's like we're really there, and it's supposed to give this impression of speed. It oftentimes makes it creates a sense of dynamism within the shot. It'll create instability in the shot, obviously, and that makes us feel nervous, or makes can indicate nervousness or create nervousness within us. It's supposed to really show reality. It's supposed to be like this is happening right now, and we are part of it, and we're watching it. The Steadicam is the opposite. The Steadicam is a completely stabilized camera. It's built into a rig that makes sure that everything stays balanced and fluid, and the motion is all fluid, and it removes any of that kind of dirty feeling that we get. There's no jarring movements at all in the camera. Everything is really, really smooth. A lot of times with a handheld camera or a shaky cam, the camera becomes noticeable. There are films that were completely filmed with a handheld camera, like Cloverfield, and the camera itself in that particular film caused a lot of people to feel really, really sick. And when they felt really, really sick, obviously they had to get up and they had to leave the theater. So in a lot of cases, the handheld camera, if it's used too much, can actually create a problem. Whereas the Steadicam, everything is smooth. So it's supposed to create this effect where we don't even notice the camera. We shouldn't even notice the camera at all. We're not going to notice any jitter or anything like that. Everything is nice and smooth. The last thing we're going to talk about is the sequence shot. And the sequence shot is a one long unedited shot. That's what the sequence shot is. So the camera's turned on and it rolls for the entirety of the scene. One continuous movement as the camera moves from location to location to location. There's a lot of great examples of the long shot, this long take. It's also known as the long take. There's a lot of great examples of the long take, and it really allows us to go to different locations, moving from location to location. Instead of cutting to new locations, we move between the locations, we move between characters, and we really have the opportunity to explore a lot of the background and a lot of the background lore and information that's occurring within the game or within the film. All right, so that's all I really want to talk about as far as the different shot types, guys. We'll go into some of the ideas of movement in the next video as well. We'll talk about the rules of movement, because there's a lot of rules that we need to consider once our camera actually starts to move in space. There's a lot of things that we need to consider to make sure that our player or our viewer really understands where they are in space and they don't get disoriented. They don't lose. They don't start looking at our production. Instead, they're still watching our film. That's all I really want to talk about, guys. Those handful of shots. There's a lot of different shots. There's a lot of combination of shots that we could put together as far as a moving shot is concerned. But I just want to talk about these few. A lot of these are used really heavily in video games, so I thought they were really important to talk about. Understanding the effect that your shot type is going to have, your moving shot type is going to have on your player, is of extreme importance. It's of extreme importance. In the next couple of videos, we're going to continue talking about the moving camera and what happens when a camera goes into motion and what we need to consider as far as the rules of the movement of our camera. If we don't follow particular rules, if we break certain rules, it's going to cause our players to become very confused, or our viewers, if you're making a film, to become very, very confused. All right? I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, let me know down below with a thumbs up, and if you didn't, a thumbs down is perfectly fine. Alright guys, I always love to hear from you, so if you give me a thumbs down, let me know why, and let me know how I can improve. I am making these videos for you. These videos are not for me in any way. They're for you out there on YouTube, and they're for all of my students who are stuck at home during this particular semester of COVID. So these videos are for you guys. Let me know what I'm doing right, let me know what I'm doing wrong, okay? Let me know how I can improve. Thumbs up. Thumbs down, comments down below, and if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.